chica Fran, llega con el rey, todos los reparteros. Yo lo sé.
I just remember
Son tu valor, también sé.
Hello everybody, welcome to Carla Paiva Life Coach Show at FREQUENCY5FM. Well, I would like to thank all my sponsors to begin with, and that would be if you want to buy or sell your house, please tune in with Tony Manchella at RE/MAX. He can be reached at 416-726-1723 or 416-745-2300. Once again, Tony Manchella can be reached at 416-726-1723 or 416-745-2300. Now, I also would like to thank my friend Farida. Her company is Young Forever. So if you want to remain young forever, tune in with her. She is a nutritionist. She also does yoga. And she also has laser hair removal. So if you want to tune with her, call her at 905-624-4234. Once again, 905-624-4234. Thank you, and let's get this started. So let me welcome my friend Alexia DiBiase. We will be talking about relationship and mental health. Right, Alexia?
Absolutely, yes.
So are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah? Yes, let's start.
So is there anything that you want to share with the public?
No.
No?
Let's just kill it.
Kill it.
Let's just kill it.
Awesome. So where's the applause, audience?
Woo!
Awesome. That's how I like it. Some enthusiasm here. So the reason why we chose relationships,
yes.
It's mostly because obviously out there a lot of people are always wanting a partner or wanting to engage in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. So let's share a little bit of some, with regards when people break up or separate or go through divorce or whatever it is, a situation that causes them to which we call it the broken heart or whatever it is, and they need time to heal. Right?
Yes.
So now, when people need time to heal, provide us a little bit of feedback, in your opinion.
Sure. So from my own experience, I was in a 6-year relationship, and I remember when I got out of that relationship, I was heartbroken. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know how to be alone. I didn't know how to, really just, I guess, live a life without a guy. And then I think that there came a point, I think maybe about 6 months to a year later, where it hit me. It was like this emotional like this emotional break that just hit. And that was my moment to where I was able to grow. And I think that what a lot of people forget when they get out of a relationship is learning how to be alone first and then growing and healing from there. And growing and healing, in my personal opinion, means doing the work. What does doing the work mean? It means going out with your friends. It means reading books. You know what I mean? Doing things that you enjoy and developing characteristics and developing things about yourself that you would have never thought you would have ever had you been in a relationship. So I think that if any of you guys are out there heartbroken, if any of you guys have been through a breakup, my biggest word of advice is try to make sure that you are working on yourself. You know what I mean? Doing the emotional and spiritual work. And then that way when your next relationship comes around, you'll know what to do and what not to do.
Yes, that's perfectly well said. So basically, the bottom line is, if you break up or go through a heartbreak or anything that is very painful to you, to your soul, and causes you to be devastated and feel that you are lost and you have lost the purpose to live. Because here's the problem is, when you're in a relationship, it's no longer about you or me, it's about us. And then when it's no longer about us and you separate, then it becomes about you, yourself, and you, which is hard for you to accommodate and move forward with it, right?
I think a lot of people are afraid to really be their authentic self because I think they're afraid to know what that looks like. But I think that when you become your own best friend and you become someone that you're so comfortable and loving with, that no matter who comes in your life, you will always have that standard. You will always have that sense of respect and that sense of worth. And when you know your worth, the person that comes into your life in the future is going to know your worth as well, which is going to make your relationship that much more fulfilling. So
Yeah,
that's how I see it. Know yourself first before someone else gets to know you, because you don't want to start discovering yourself while you're with somebody else.
Yeah, or even going through, trying to pick up your pieces, and still other people come into your life. They don't know exactly what's going on. You're in a very vulnerable situation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then here's the problem is, once people are aware of your situation, they will either use you or place you as an option.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
And I think that with self-growth comes being able to weed those people out. When you know who you are, you're able to have that intuition of being able to know who is not necessarily 100% authentic with me, who is using me for the wrong reasons, who's in my life for the wrong reasons. And on top of that, too, when you're the most vulnerable, you're the most, you have this ability to give off this energy that you're easy to be manipulated. That's when people prey on you. So when you know yourself and you're self-sufficient and you're I guess, loving in a sense, you are able to look at someone and know exactly what they're giving you, and if you know it's authentic and if it's good for you. So
yeah, 100%. That's right. There you go.
Yeah.
So well, I want to say hi first because I see a lot of people here. I want to say hi to Renato, Takir, and Alex, Jimmy, Roberta, and Vladimir. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I really appreciate that.
And shout outs to my best friend Alexandra. I see that you're watching me. I see your little comment. Go Alexia. Love you very much, girl.
Awesome. So guys, if you have any questions, by all means shoot it, and we'll do our best to provide you with all the answers.
Yes.
So now going back to the relationship thing, right?
Yes.
So basically the golden key is discover yourself, know your worth, know your value before you're ready for a next relationship or before you're ready to give yourself to another person. Because I mean, bottom line is, it would not be fair for the other person to be ready and clear.
Yes.
Right? And yet you're still picking up your pieces and trying to recover and trying to figure it out. Where do you stand?
Yes.
Because then, once again, you're making those people to become options in your life.
Right. I think it's important to understand that everyone's got baggage and everyone is not perfect. That's huge for, I think, everyone to realize that everyone's going to come in with some sort of, I guess, baggage or, issues or insecurities, and that's completely and totally fine. The issue is when the morals and values are on a completely different playing field. If someone is coming in open-heartedly, wanting to, explore an option for a relationship, or even just explore something meaningful, and the other person is guarded, that's when the resentment starts to happen. So both people need to come in open and honestly and express how they feel. And I think that once you kind of get that clear boundary kind of persevered right through that, then that's when you'll be able to see what this can grow into. So both people need to be honest at the beginning. Be honest with what you're looking for. Be honest with what's up, with what's going on in your life. Be honest with how you feel about things, and then at that point, you kind of just let things go with the flow.
Yeah, so basically,
honesty is huge.
Honesty, communication.
Yes.
Okay. I have a question here from Jimmy. He wants to know, what if you are in a relationship and feel used? So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you want to take this one, or do you want me to take this? I can totally take it. I'm so eager to take that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the first thing I want to say to Jimmy is that there's nobody on this planet that can make you feel used but yourself. So if you are in a relationship right now and you feel used, or you feel the person is not giving you what you want, or the person is not giving you what you feel you need to benefit from in your relationship, then it is up to you to find that self-worth and find that self-esteem. Get rid of this insecurity that you feel you're not going to find better, and either move on from the situation or communicate with your partner how you feel. So if you're feeling that you're giving your all in this relationship and you're not getting anything out of it, first step is to communicate that, let the other person know how you feel. And if at that point they're still not understanding how you're feeling or giving you any sort of feedback or giving you any sort of resolution to the problem, then maybe it's time for you to start looking at other options and maybe getting yourself out of something that's not making you happy.
Yeah, that's right. That and plus, as she mentioned, obviously, if you're feeling used, it's because you placed yourself in that situation to begin with, right? I mean, used, I would say, I use my shoes every day to walk, so I use them. When I don't like them, I toss them, right?
Yes.
So if you put yourself in that category, that means that you don't really value yourself enough to put the standard to know, you know what, I'm better than this.
Yes.
You obviously are not on the same level as I am. So therefore, I choose to, no longer be in this toxic relationship, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think there's nothing wrong with putting yourself first and being selfish. And if you feel like your needs are not getting met and you've expressed that to your partner about what you expect in the relationship and you're not getting anything out of it, there's nothing wrong with walking away and nothing wrong with having that self-empowerment and being like, I know what I deserve, I know what I can offer. And I think that being able to know what you can offer is important too, because you should never expect what you can't offer. So if you can offer X, Y, and Z, then that's what you should be giving as well. So really know yourself and really know what you can give. That way when you're entering a relationship or even in a relationship, you know what to expect back.
Yeah, that's
that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but however, the expectation part as well is a big thing on relationships, because when we're in a relationship, we have high expectations. One partner will definitely have a higher expectation than the other.
Yep.
And some people say, I think that person loves me more than the other person. And you know what? In some cases, yes, perhaps that will be their first love, or the other person is not their first love. So they come into that relationship more cautious, more with the guard up, which there's nothing wrong with that. And then you learn to love differently. That doesn't mean that person doesn't love you, but they just love you differently. Right?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong, obviously, with having two different ways of going about things, but as long as you're communicating that, and as long as there's mutual playing ground there with each other's feelings and each other's, I guess, not expectations, but, how they want things to happen in the relationship, then that's fine. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own ways of communicating and expressing how they feel, and I always believe actions speak louder than words, so someone can tell you they love you a million times, but if the action's not backing it up, then there's really no point in pursuing anything at that point. So
yeah, so action.
Yes.
Yes. Don't be a talker. If you talk, then act, please.
Yes.
If you're just gonna sit there and sweet talk, everybody can talk. Even my child can talk. Okay. We need actions.
Yes. Being told I'm beautiful 100 times. That's nice to hear. Thank you. I'm well aware.
Don't over exaggerate. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to live with that. Beautiful. Like, come on. It becomes like a hi, good morning.
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Yes.
Like, really?
It's like, I know I'm pretty, thank you, but is there anything else you can offer? Yes, I agree with you completely.
Place some meaning, guys.
Absolutely.
Come on. Repeating over and over, I don't think that's the ideal. The ideal is to make sure you speak with your heart, and when you do, make sure that that person gets it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So, another thing is, a lot of people, what they do is when they have gone to a breakup or even in a relationship, they come across as like online dating. Okay, that's the hot buns in the market right now.
Yes.
Online dating. Honestly, guys, online dating works for some people. For some others, doesn't work. I've heard many things about how it feels like being in an interview. At times, it's like, wow, which job am I applying for? Like, why does our job define who we are while we're trying to look for a soulmate or someone that we want to share our life with, right?
Yes.
It should be more a soulmate connection. Are we for each other in a mind, heart, and soul? Right?
I agree.
More as opposed to how much money do you make?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a victim. I definitely know that I tried the online dating thing. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I have tried that. And I think what I've realized with the online dating is that it's a very superficial way of meeting somebody. And I think that in this generation, because of technology and because of all of the new things that are coming out now, we kind of are all in that realm of wanting to do the hookups and wanting things that are easy. But if we look back, a few generations ago, they used to meet each other naturally. They would go to a bar, they would go to a club, they would go to the grocery store, and that's how a connection was built. While nowadays, I guess we're either desperate, I don't know, or we're trying. I think it's whatever it is, but being someone who's tried that game and has failed at it, I would recommend, take your time with being single, take your time with focusing on who you are, and let the person that's meant to be in your life come naturally.
And when you did the online, who helped you to?
You did. Carla did. Carla was my inspiration for that, and I'm forever grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you, babe.
You're welcome. So, and as I stand for my quotes out there, you commit and I deliver. Simple as that.
Yes.
And that's what came out, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I helped you. You came out of it, and look how beautiful you are right now in the right path. So now, here's the thing. The online, it's easy for people to hide behind a phone. Reality is you don't know what kind of person they are behind the phone, the computer, or whatever it is. Listen, they'll put a very nice, good-looking guy or woman. As soon as they go there and meet them, it's nothing like it. So disappointing.
Catfish.
Fair. So you don't want to go through that, right?
No, no one does.
Go through that. That's so like heartbreaking. Well, there is some meetups, groups that do for especially dating and stuff like that.
I think a lot of people choose the online avenue because they feel they want to put themselves out there, and that was kind of my whole perspective on it. Was like maybe I should put myself out there and like try a different avenue. But then when what I realized is that this online thing, it's very superficial, and it's almost like you said, it's very much like an interview. So what do you do for a living, and where are you from, and like how many siblings do you have? And it's like that's nice to know, but what really makes something work is the soul connection that you get when you meet someone initially, and that's sometimes not there when you first meet the person.
That's right.
So I definitely agree with you on that front.
So that, and plus now going back to the club scene as well. A lot of people are out there. They, believe it or not, at the clubs, they ask questions. What is your name? How much you make? Do you have children? Do you live by yourself? I mean, why? Are you planning to rob my house?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of? Like, really? Come on, guys and girls. Like,
yeah. Clubs are definitely not the avenue to meet people. That's for sure. I mean, I wouldn't count it out completely because you just never know. You might run into someone and it might work out. But but never walk into a club hoping that that's what you're going to find. Go in, have fun with your girlfriends, or have fun with your guy friends or the group that you're going with. Go in with the intention of wanting to have fun, wanting to dance, wanting to experience. And if you happen to find someone that catches your eye, I would never tell you not to give it attention. But as soon as you have that, I guess, energy going into a club that you are looking to pursue someone or find someone, that's when the energy is forced, and that's when it becomes a completely and totally different situation at that point.
So also, since we're in that scenario, red flags. If he says he has a Ferrari and he's driving a Hyundai, please, my friend, check mark. Don't do it. Okay. If he says he has all these monies and things like that, believe me, the more they talk the less they have.
It's so true. Yes.
The more they talk, the less they have.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ladies, be more smart about your choices, okay? And, well, guys, they're pretty good at it. They're, you know.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
I think we also have to learn to not be so superficial either. You know what I mean?
Materialistic.
Yes. Let's start, you know what I mean? Let's start, really focusing on the person's soul and the person's personality and character. If they happen to be gorgeous on top of that, great, you got a bonus. But let's focus more on the soul connection that you have with the person, because that is what's going to make a real relationship work. And I know a lot of people are saying, don't look into the future, don't think too much ahead. But you have to make sure that if you're planning on spending your energy with this person, that there are qualities that they possess that are going to give you something to want to make you see if worth pursuing a future with them. So don't put those expectations on them, but kind of get a feel for if their goals and aspirations in life are the same as yours, because that'll just save you a bunch of time in the beginning, especially when you're talking to the person. So,
well, especially if they're screening you, screen them, their energy, go more deeper than just the words coming out of that person's mouth.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think we're also very consumed with, oh, well, he's taking me on a date and paying for it, or, oh, he's doing this with me or doing that with me. Why are we not focusing on how does he treat you when he's with you? Is he respecting you? Is he giving you a feeling?
At the girls while he's with you?
A big,
looking at his phone while he's with
I was just going to say, if he's off his phone the entire time, you know you have someone that cares. But if someone is in and off their phone, not really caring about your conversation, that's how you know.
Yeah, those are all red flags. That's what I call them.
I agree with you.
Now, I have someone, Jimmy, he goes, club is a place to have fun and fling.
Yes, fair.
Have fun, fling. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to be single and if you want to go and talk to girls or talk to guys, buy drinks, you know what I mean, have a good time, I'm all for that. But at the end of the day, if there ever comes a point where you are asking for a number or you are giving your number and you're kind of hoping for something to happen out of that number exchange, you need to make sure you solidify what exactly that person's looking for right at the beginning, because you may be talking to this person for months and he may not want anything to do with you, or she may not want anything to do with you. So make sure you are getting your answers at the beginning. Ask those preliminary questions. What are you looking for? What do you see yourself doing in the next few years? What is your goal? What's your main focus at this point? And if someone says to you, oh, my main focus is my career and making money, then you know this person is probably not for you. But if this person's like, you know, I'm building my career, you know, I would eventually like to have a family someday, and that's something that you're looking for, then you know you're on the right track. So ask those preliminary questions at the beginning. Saves you so much time.
Yes, but club would not be the ideal.
No, I wouldn't suggest.
Maybe go after that, go for a first date.
Yes.
To kind of feel things, because in the club scene, the atmosphere, the energy, right now in days, believe me or not, sadly, some certain places are actually, I call them like the meat hunters. Okay?
Ooh,
so, which
I
find
that.
it's sadly, but it works for many people, right? But I find that it's a little bit like for those that know their worth and their value and they know already what those places are all about, you're very more at guard when you go in there. You don't feel less comfortable. You feel more like as a target as opposed to you're with your girlfriends having fun, because you already know
I think it's all
is all about, right?
Right, and just that whole thing about worth. When you know your worth, you know your standards. So at the end of the day, if you know what you want and if you know your worth, you will recognize the flaws or the red flags right away. While if you don't really know your worth and you don't really know self-love or know yourself, you're kind of just going to fall with whatever comes. And I think that that's where the downfall is with a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
that's what it is. And Roberta de Bellis, I see that you agree with me that it's a meat market out there. So that just boosts me up even higher. Thank you.
Yes, agreed.
So now let's share a little bit some stuff here that I have. Hold on.
Okay.
Just bear with me. Takes a little bit time.
Yes.
So when you go in on a date and then the guy comes to you, let's say it's the first date, the guy comes to you and kisses in the forehead, then that means he thinks you guys are cute together, right? Or if he kisses you in the cheek, he says we're friends.
Yes.
Or he kisses you on your hand. He feels that you're adorable, right? He adores you. Or on your neck. That means that he wants you now, so beware. Also, on the shoulder, if he ever kisses you on the shoulder, that means that you're perfect for him. Okay?
Yeah,
also,
never had that shoulder situation happen to me.
Maybe it will come up.
Maybe it will.
Maybe it will
Who
come
knows?
up. Who
But
knows?
never had my shoulder kissed before.
So,
But I vibe. I vibe with that.
If the kiss is on the lips, he totally tells you that he absolutely loves you.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, right?
I agree with you.
Don't go kissing everybody on the lips. Can you imagine?
I think public displays of affection is very nice. Like if he's holding your hand, if he's introducing you to people, if he's putting his arm around you, if he's walking with you and being kind to you and like really showing people that like you're his, I think that's very nice. So that's definitely something to look out for when you're trying to see if he likes you or not or any of that.
Yeah.
So
now 10 tips for successful relationships.
Okay.
Beware. Number 1, be honest.
Yes.
Number 2, choose your partner carefully.
That's huge.
Number 3, ensure your values match your partner's values. Number 4, know what makes a relationship work and go with the flow. Number 5, know what you want, communicate, and compromise. Got it? So number 6, love yourself.
Big.
Number 7, respect each other. Number 8, practice appreciation with one another. Number 9, have no expectations. This is what I was just saying. Everything that we're seeing here, we have targeted each individual one. Number 10, have fun and be absolutely positive with one another.
Okay, I just have one comment about that, though. The whole expectation thing. I definitely believe that one can go either way. Because at the same time, you need to have standards and you need to have a certain level of respect for yourself and what you deserve. So I don't like to use the word expectation. I like to use the word a standard of which you deserve to be treated and you deserve to have in your life. And if the person is not meeting your needs after you've communicated them, that's when you kind of have to reevaluate if this person is for you. So with regards to expectations, I definitely don't believe that it should be tit for tat, and I think me and you talked about that. It shouldn't be like, if I do something for you, you should do something for me, but I think that there needs to be an overall understanding of what you expect from the person.
It's mutual. Like, if you love someone, it's obviously expected that they will do anything to care for you, right? It's a natural common sense.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if it's a natural common sense, then there's zero expectations.
Right.
Right?
I just think that, like, the biggest thing is needs need to be met. If something is important to someone and they've communicated that, it is your duty as someone who cares about that person to make that happen. It doesn't have to be all the time. Obviously, everyone's got a life, everyone's got school, work, whatever it may be. So obviously it's going to be hard sometimes to always make that happen. But as long as you're making a conscious effort to either alter a behavior or just give someone what they want to make them happy, that's the most important. And I feel like when you're in a relationship, the first thing you should do when you wake up is think about what is going to make that person happy. If I wake up and I know that I text this person good morning, or I, do something for them or say something to them that is going to make them happy, that should be your goal. If that is not something that you are going to want to do or don't have the time to do or don't care to do, then you obviously don't care about that person and you need to communicate that you're not looking for that.
But then here's the thing. You can care about that person, but then being in a relationship, it shouldn't just be about that person only. You got to do what makes yourself happy as well.
Yes.
So maybe you're not the type of person of being a texter or being always saying good morning. Maybe you're the type of person that actually would like to grab the phone and just talk.
Yes.
Right? There's a lot of people out there, they're not texters. They don't like dealing with,
That's
you
right.
know, cell phones and things like that. They're more hands-on or speak, right?
And that's fine as long as that's communicated, right? As long as that is expressed and letting that person know, right? Then that's fine. I'm all for that.
Because that's one thing that, you know, not everyone is the same.
And that's fine, but there needs to be clear, I guess, communication about the reasons
where I stand.
Yes, and this is what I feel most comfortable doing.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of person that wants to pick up the phone, if you're the kind of person that wants to see the person in person, personally for me, I think that that's better than texting every day. But if there's a distance thing happening, or say, for example, you both live busy lives and you can't see each other every day, the odd text message throughout the day should be
an appointment. Schedule an appointment. Believe me, that works. You got to schedule that person in.
Well, you know what? Try. That's all it is, right? As long as the trying is there.
So now, the other thing is the secrets to a long-lasting relationship. Two people working, standing, wanting, being together, and seeing the future together.
Yes.
As well, the best results come when you reduce emotion and increase communication. Okay?
Wow, love that.
Yeah. So, also, a powerful couple. Both individuals bring something to the table. They learn from each other. They support each other. And most of all, they build a kingdom together.
Ooh, love that.
Okay? So, the other thing as well that I wanted to share. Bottom line is teamwork. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is absolute success.
Yeah.
Okay.
A partnership is huge. When you're in a partnership with someone, you are working together to grow something, and it can't be one-sided ever. Obviously, as time goes by, one person may have to pick up the pieces more than the other person, depending on if there's deaths, financial situations, whatever the deal may be, and that's completely and totally fine, but there always needs to be that initial foundation. When you have that initial foundation that both of you have built together, where there's mutual love, care, and respect, then if there happens to be a downfall in the relationship where someone's got to have to pick up the slack more than the other one, it's not going to feel like it's that way, especially if the foundation is very strong. So that's why the beginning, I think the first couple years of dating someone's very important, because you have to build that foundation before you start bringing in kids or anything else. So
that's right. So I have one of the viewers. He placed here something. His name is Javier. He placed it. Too many men are players, not too many honest men. The woman should always have their guard up until at least a month into a relationship. Yeah. Well.
Okay. This is how I see that. I can understand where that's coming from. However, I don't believe that someone who comes into your life should have to suffer the consequences of somebody else's mistakes that was there before. So I can understand going in with a little bit of a guard because you don't want to get hurt, but at the same time, you also don't want to have too much of a guard, because then that person is not going to know how to break it. You have to kind of give that person a little bit, right? So if you're constantly putting your wall up, that person is just going to be like, okay, you don't care about me, so I'm not going to bother trying. Every single time you encounter a new person that you are talking to, you need to walk into it with an open mind, and you need to look at that person as a completely separate individual, right? I've been single for a few years now, and I've encountered some not so great men, but at this point in my life, I have never walked into any new situation with that mindset that this guy's going to do what those other guys did, because that's not fair to them. They should not have to be categorized as, you know, whatever you know, as a player, just because the guys beforehand ruined it. So I understand where he's coming from, but I believe that it should not be fair, for example, for me to walk into a situation with a guy and him automatically classify me as a cheater or classify me as something because I'm a female and because that's what happened in his past. I should be given a fair chance to prove myself. And if I happen to do something that is against what he believes, then of course you leave it alone. But I want to be given a fair chance, just like how I would give anybody a fair chance. And if it doesn't work out, you at least tried.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing.
Now, the other thing is with guard up. I actually do agree with that.
Oh, God.
With
we're going to have a debate now.
Okay.
We're going to have a bit of a debate,
yes.
are we?
Why, ladies? I have news for you. If you have your guard up, the right man will stick by you, will do everything for you, and he will not give up. He will break those walls, and he will structure those walls again with a door where he can enter. He's welcome, and he will always be there. So once again, having your guard up, it's a good thing. Believe me. It will.
I want to chime in.
Hold on. Having a guard up does not mean that you think everybody is a player. No. The way I look at it is having your guard up is you're protecting yourself and you. You respect yourself not to fall once again into that. However, you are giving opportunity to the other individual, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be starting seeing this person, dating this person, getting to know this person. The fact that you are actually doing that at that stage, right? You don't have an absolute 100% guard up. You do have your guard up in certain things, but you're still giving it a try, and you're not selecting that person as every individual person that you dated, because then you wouldn't be there.
And right? Fair, but I also believe at the same time that if you know your self-worth and you know who you are as a person and you love yourself and you have that female empowerment within you, that at the end of the day, you're not afraid to get hurt. Because if the person doesn't want to give you what you want, then you can walk away knowing confidently that you tried your best. So I understand what you're coming with in a sense where don't be dumb. Don't give all yourself to somebody. Don't throw all of your eggs in one basket right at the beginning. Let it be a gradual progression into something. I agree with you. But I don't necessarily believe in putting up a guard, because with guard becomes you trying to be a little bit unauthentic, right? Because when there's a guard, you're watching what you're saying, you're watching what you're doing. You're not going based on what you want to do. And if you want to sleep with someone, if you want to date someone, then you should be able to do it. Yeah. And if that person hurts you, guess what? They're lost. Bye. Moving on.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that's the thing. If that person is actually willing to stay beside you, okay, it doesn't matter how high your guard is,
yes.
Okay, and every day persisting, wanting to communicate with you, wanting to be with you, then and actually should
proving
you shatter or fall, and that person is there to pick you up.
I get what you're saying.
I mean, that shows that that person 100% has the good intentions for a better future and better relationship, right? So now when you don't put your guard up, you're just gonna become an option in the sense that you're just like, haha, hee, everything, it's so funny, let's just have fun, this is gonna be awesome. As soon as you know, you're just an option just like everybody else. So your guard up means that you remove yourself from being an option out there.
I think what we're confusing is guard with standards. Because for me, I think what you're trying to say is when you're walking into a situation, have standards that you need fulfilled. Have criteria that you want met in your relationship. And I think that when you have that, that's when you'll feel a little bit more comfortable. I think walls is the wrong word that we're using. I think it's standards. Walking into a situation and knowing exactly what you want and knowing that if this person's not going to give you at least this bare minimum, that it's just not worth pursuing, right? But at the end of the day, if the person, like you're saying, like breaks those walls, I see it as the person is proving to you that they want to be with you and that they are real about their feelings, right? Mm-hmm. But I do agree with you in a sense where people do have to start being a little bit more smart in the decisions that they make with getting into relationships, because I feel a lot of the times they get into one, they're kind of confused or they're misinterpreting attention for feelings, and then that's when they end up getting hurt. So I wouldn't say walls, I would say have standards for yourself of what you expect from that other person, personally.
That's right. So we will be finishing relationship situation here right now. We will be flipping to the mental health awareness. Mental health awareness, I'm a true believer, should be talked about and be engaged with every day, not just because the calendar says so.
Yes, I agree with you.
So when we start with this title here, let me just grab something here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's let's start with, since we were on the relationship situation here, let's start with emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. Worse, people. It's actually worse. And you can heal broken bones. You cannot heal a broken mind. So do you see the difference? Because I do.
I agree with you completely. But I think that physical abuse can also kind of go hand in hand with mental, because even though, let's say for example, there's domestic violence in a relationship, and the person gets, I don't know, like they break the person's arm. Yeah, that bone can mend, but there will always be that mental, I guess, that mental pressure put on the person of, I've been abused. So I think that the mental and physical kind of go hand in hand in that sense. I believe that when someone is a victim of domestic violence, that takes a toll on their mental ability to live life as well. I've never obviously encountered that, so I obviously don't want to give my opinion too much, because I've never been in that kind of situation. But I truly do believe, just based on everything, that I think that if someone is in a position of being, hurt in a domestic violence situation, there's no way that physically it would ever matter to them. I think they're more concerned about how they're mentally going to get out of such a dark place.
That's right, which causes people to, especially as a child. Let's start as children.
Yeah.
A lot of parents misunderstand some communication here. When the child listens to you at times, or actually bends over to do what the parent thinks it's right, okay? At times, parents think they're respecting them. However, the child has fear. Have you ever thought of that? And because you're causing fear to your child's minds, it's causing them to actually not stand for themselves. It's causing them to shut down who they are, their characters. It's causing them to bend over to you because they're afraid of you. They're not respecting you. They're absolutely afraid of you, of how you're going to handle them. How are you going to abuse them? Could it be mentally? Could it be physically? Whatever the odds are. Don't mix respect with fear.
Yes,
and
respect is earned, and respect is earned, I believe, when, you basically, I know this is the most clicheist thing I can say, but you treat others the way you want to be treated. If you want to be respected in a relationship, in a friendship, in a family situation or whatever, you have to show that person that if I'm expecting you to treat me a certain way, I got to reciprocate that. And a lot of times people have this inferiority complex, or have this, I guess, egotistical standpoint about themselves, where they automatically just feel that they deserve to be treated a certain way because of how much money they make, or because of their looks, or because of just the family they've come from, when it's like, no, you treat people the way you expect it to, and that's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah, and also, we don't know. People will come out there and smile and laugh. They will post pictures on the social media that they had a blast and all that. As soon as they shut the door in their bedroom, they go into a huge depression, anxiety. We don't know that dark place that they go to each day, right? Each night.
Depression and anxiety is real.
Which nowadays there's a huge high rate of suicidal going on. And actually mental illness, the high peak, as per the facts that I see, is from 15 years old and over. Okay, 15 to 24, that's the high peak if the person starts having mental illness, mental issues in accepting, starting to remove themselves. We call it's the teenage time. Well, my friends, it may be a teenage, but it's the time where either that mental illness will bounce back, or they will just say, you know what, I'm strong, I can deal with this, whatever it is, and they speak out and they move forward. Or they will just leave themselves always there. However, years pass by, but their mind and themselves are always retroactive in that time of whatever that caused them to feel that, ill in their minds.
I also believe that you should kill people with kindness, and what I mean by that is that sometimes people will react or say things or do things that are that to you may seem disrespectful or off or very just not something that you're vibing with. But I think that we always have to remember that everyone has a story and everyone has something going on behind closed doors that you do not know about. And for you to treat another person with disrespect, maybe after they've disrespected you, be that bigger person and don't feed into that. Because when you feed into that, you're kind of feeding into something that may not necessarily be 100% them. Yeah. And I feel a lot of people who have depression and who have anxiety sometimes don't know how to communicate their feelings effectively because they don't even know what's going on, right? Yeah. So I think that it's very important to kind of make sure that we are always approaching every person with utmost kindness and respect, because we don't know at the end of the day what they are dealing with mentally.
Yeah. So don't get fooled by the outer, because the inside may be very going through a hard time, in a dark place. We don't know. Just because they smile, it doesn't mean that their heart and soul is complete and happy. Yeah. So just be kind to everybody that is out there. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people have fear of coming forward and saying, listen, I feel anxiety, or I feel depression, or I find that mentally I'm not all there. I'm always sad. I'm always moody. Yeah. Because people start judging them, right? Yeah. So, and then you know what? We got to stop that. Yeah. As a community, we should unite and we should stick together and help one another, because that's how we have to do it.
Well, I think that not just with mental illness, I definitely agree with you that we should definitely be bringing more awareness to that, but I also want, us as a new generation and as a society to really start being a lot more accepting of people that are of a minority. So I'm not necessarily talking about skin color. I'm talking more so about, if you are, gay or a lesbian, if you're transgender, if you are, any of those kind of things. I believe that those are people that need to have a comfortable platform to be able to express how they feel. And I'm a huge advocate for people being authentic and being themselves. And I think my biggest, message that I want to send to people is that if you are internally battling, whether it's a mental illness or coming out of the closet, if you will, about something that is going on within you, there are avenues and there are ways in which that you can talk, and there are avenues in which you can express your emotions, and to never feel that you are different. I know that sometimes people often put that if you are in those categories that you will not fit into society, but I want to let you guys know that every person has a story, and if you are gay, lesbian, transgender, if you suffer from any sort of mental illness, you are no different. You are special and whole in your own person, and never let anyone make you think otherwise.
Yeah, which means you're absolutely unique, right? So
yeah.
you bring
whole and complete.
Yes. And now there's 10 facts on mental health. Let me share with you those 10 facts. It's stated that on 2020, depression will be main cause of disability worldwide. That's quite scary in a way, because we are heading to 2019, and right after that it's 2020. Yeah. So that's quite something that to show us that we should definitely start talking about this more often, start letting people know, come forward, ask questions, engage, be open, don't be afraid, Yeah. We all go through some sort of anxiety, depression.
Yes, absolutely.
We all go through it. The difference is, some of us know how to deal with it, and some of us were so busy with this day-to-day thing that we do, go to work, take care of our family, whatever, that we actually neglect the signs of anxiety and depression, causing you to understand that more about when it becomes severe. Because then you start relying on meds. You start seeing yourself as like a form that you're having this illness. Because in the beginning, you were basically blind about it of the noise and your basically living of life didn't allow you to be more in tune with yourself and understand and listen to your needs and your inner self.
Yeah, people define themselves based on the illness as opposed to letting it just be an attribute about themselves and letting it be maybe even a positive thing in their life, because sometimes when you have a mental illness and you suffer from something, you have a little bit more empathy for people because you're able to, you're able to relate and you're able to offer your story. So never look at your mental illness or your difference according to society as something bad, because you might actually change somebody's life, or you might actually open up a whole new perspective on things that no one would have ever seen. So, I believe that there's also a positive to having a mental illness, because you're able to inspire other people to be authentic, and I think that's great. So
yeah, that's right. So Vicky, thank you, Vicky, for tuning in. Really appreciate that. And you do state here the stigma needs to be lifted, and we should feel safe to share and express ourselves and our struggles. 100%. I mean, and that's why we are here. That's why I figured, you know what, why wait for the week? Why wait for the month? Let's get this going and talk about it.
Yes.
Allow you guys to engage and be free, because, by doing that, you will feel that you belong here, right?
Yeah.
And if you belong here, you will have no issues in talking about this topic.
Right.
Right?
I agree with you, yeah.
So now there's other... from the 10 factors here, around 20% of the world, children and adolescents have mental disorder or problems. Yes, that goes back to the children's situation, how it starts as a child, and then it goes from there.
I agree.
Okay?
Yeah.
About 23% of all years lost because of disability is caused by mental and substance use disorders. Well, once again,
fair enough, yeah.
That's correct. Why? Because as soon as you know you have that depression and anxiety, the first thing you do is start popping those things into your mouth to feel better. Medication I'm talking about. Okay? Because then you feel that by taking them, you get better. But then, here's the problem. You become addicted to that, because you feel that's the only thing that can release that anxiety and depression. However, the beauty thing in life is there's more to it than just medication. You were born without medication.
Yes.
So if you were born with a heart clear and a soul clear, so can you move on, moving forward. Yeah, I know it's easy said than done, but there's like beautiful things that you can do. You can travel.
Yes.
You can
doing the spiritual work is very big too.
Meditate.
Yes.
If you love art, do art, paint, enroll yourself into things that your heart desires that will definitely replace that medication that you think that you need to replace that.
Yes, absolutely.
So you don't need that. I'm telling you right now, you do not need that.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of people use, and again, I don't want to generalize, because I'm obviously I don't suffer from these things, but I do believe that sometimes people often use these things as crutches because they don't want to actually be happy. But I think that when you really when you're really in a place where you know you deserve to be happy, you'll want to find ways to not self-medicate. You'll want to find ways naturally to be able to get out of something. And I know for myself, when I'm experiencing an anxiety moment, or when I'm experiencing, a moment where I'm overthinking things, I find that talking to people is very important. And that's something that I also wanted to mention too, is never be afraid to go and seek help from someone. And when I mean seek help, I mean like actually go to a psychologist or a therapist. Don't ever feel that you can't express your feelings, because I think that talking about your feelings and releasing those emotions verbally is probably the most healthiest thing that you can do. And I know for myself that I have gone and seen somebody, for my own things in the past, and honestly, it was the most fulfilling experience, because they give you a perspective that is so like not personal, that it actually opens your eyes to being able to see different ways in which you can handle something. And I'm a very firm believer, and actually a very strong advocate for getting the help, not only psychologically, but also even, spiritually as well, There's plenty of books out there, you know what I mean? Definitely take that time to read. I think reading is really important too. Getting your mind out of the societal world and putting it into something that's going to benefit you.
Also, mental health comes into play when there's high expectations. We go back to the high, we were talking about relationships earlier. High expectations even for our children. They must have A's, A+. Things like that put pressure on these individuals. So while that causes mental health issues, people, you have high standards for people in general, or even for people that get married. Well, the wife should stay home, cook, do this, do that. It's a full-time. It's a full-time job. It becomes mental, tiring. And then with time it becomes mental illness without even being aware. Well, anyways, Tony Manchala, thank you. I saw your your input there. Very well stated. Very chubby there. I got the message. Now, the other thing is, also, if you believe it or not, war and disasters in the world have a large impact on mental health and psychological well-being. Yes, and I could see as to why. Because when drastic things happen, first thing we do, we panic. We start thinking about the worst things. Oh my God, what I'm going to do? Am I going to die right now? Or, all these things. There. So our mind starts shifting into a shock, an impact, and then causing a high peak of that mental state, not being at peace.
Right. I think bottom line is that we need to start recognizing mental illness as something legitimate, but we don't want to see it from a pharmaceutical perspective. Let's see it as a way in which we can change mental illness from drugs and pills to a way in which we can bring the world to a little bit more of an enlightening way. And by acknowledging it, I think that if it becomes a little bit more societally acceptable, I feel like people are not going to be afraid to want to talk about it, which will then not give them the need to medicate. So I think the more we talk about it and the more that we bring light to it and the more that we make it acceptable, the less people are going to feel the need to suppress it with medication. So
that's right. So now going back to stigma and discrimination against patients and families prevent people from seeking, wow, that was hard, mental health care. Yes. Well, on that one, why should we prevent them? If they actually, the fact that the person is accepting that they have this issue, it's huge.
Yes,
because
that should be applauded.
Yes, it's an opening for a better self.
Yes, agreed.
A better me, a better self. I'm ready. I want to do this. I want to commit. So why should we put that against them or make them feel that, you know what, you should put that issue in your pocket and do not release it? No, we shouldn't do that. So mental disorders are important risk factors for other diseases such as HIV, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. So people that have that mental illness, it could trigger to your heart issues and diabetes. So another thing, about 800,000 people commit suicide every year.
That needs to change.
Yes, and that needs to change. Human rights violation of people with mental and psychological disability are routinely reported in most countries. Many low and middle, okay, this is important, guys. Many low and middle income countries currently allocate less than 2% of the health budget to the treatment and prevention of mental disorder. That's really huge.
That's a problem.
Yes. Yep. And low income countries have a 0.05 psychologists and 0.42 nurses per 100,000 people.
But I'm sure if we looked at the statistics for pharmaceutical, it'd be skyrocket.
Yes.
So let's put that into perspective.
Yes. So these are the 10, mental health facts. And the other one that I thought it was like, wow, like really, it's the fact that from age 15 to age 24 is the high peak for mental illness.
Well, that's the teenage years, right? That's when the brain starts changing.
Yes.
That's when people start developing themselves and they start to figure out who they are. And if the proper structure is not there, that's when the brain can deviate into another way, right? So it's very understandable why that is what it is. So.
Yeah, time goes so fast, Vladimir. You're so right. Time flies, especially when we're having a good time, right, people?
Yes.
Well, for now, we will wrap up. I truly appreciate each individual one, and the other thing is we'll do a part 2 with my friend here, Alexia DiBiase.
Yes.
And I would like to thank everybody for watching, and if you have any questions or anything, please still ask questions. You can email me or email the Frequency5FM if you have any questions. Mine is info@carlapaiva.com. So if you have any questions, or, I am a life coach, so if you have anything in mind that it doesn't come out right now, but then you want to talk about it, by all means, come forward. I have no issue in engaging with you. Thank you, Alexia, once again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And once again, thank you for all the sponsors. And if you want to buy or sell your house, contact Tony Manchella. He works for Remax. His phone number is 416-726-1723, 416-745-2300. Or if you want to remain young, call Farida. She's a nutritionist. She's a yoga instructor. If you want to be hair-free, she is the person to go to. She'll make sure all those hairs do not grow back. And her phone number is 905-624-4232. Sorry, 905-624-4234. Okay? Thank you, everybody, and have an awesome night. Don't forget Carla Paiva Life Coach Show with Frequency 5 FM every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yay.